I'm just gonna go live. I I have I don't know if anyone is here yet, so I'm gonna just make sure that you're gonna be able to see me because I'm gonna be working here. So yeah, I think that's good height. Okay. So I'm just at the aerial studio. My studio, my son's actually taking a trampoline class, but I have some lower back pain and I've just been a little bit stressed lately because we have to move to a new studio. So it's been a little bit challenging for me and I'm trying not to freak out. So I thought I would do some forward folds and just let you see how I do them. I'm going to be using them more for the inversion so I can calm the mind and reduce stress rather than actually doing it for a hamstring stretch. I would like to actually just get my head below my heart and hopefully that can help reduce my stress and calm my nervous system. So I'm just going to be showing you how to do it and I'll do it at a couple different heights also. And I have a workshop for forward folds coming soon to my membership. So if you want to learn more, then you can do that. So let's just get into it. So I'm going to start. So right now I have it at the cross position. And so I'm just going to start with it around behind me, like I have it like a backpack. And then I'm going to have my feet at hip distance, pressing the hammock forward, just taking an inhale. I'm going to let my hips shift back and I'm putting it in front of my shoulders. So it really stops me from hinging all the way over, but it allows me to get a little bit of a hinge and drawing the navel in, rounding through the spine. And I'm going to sway side to side. So this is actually giving my lower back a stretch as I hang over. And I like to step a little bit behind my center, give me a bit more movement. And then getting into the cervical spine. With every inhale, breathing into the lower back, because that's where I'm feeling pain. Couple cat cows. Inhale, open, extend. Exhale, scoop and round. Inhale, open, extend. Exhale, scoop and round. And then bending again, one knee at a time. Okay, so that was with the hammock at my shoulders so I can barely go forward. And so if you want to go a little bit farther now, you would then do the same thing, but we're going to put the hands behind us. So the hammock's going to go on the outside of the shoulders and then bend the elbows. So I'm going to hook the elbows and now I can hinge over and get farther. So for some, this might actually be a hamstring stretch. Again, for me, I just want the head below my heart. That's what I'm trying to do, which is helping to calm my nervous system and reduce stress, anxiety, depression, and hopefully make me feel a little bit better since I'm kind of freaking out that we have to move to a new place. But feels good to get all the blood rushing to the brain, calming the mind. Bending one knee at a time and shifting weight into one leg at a time. Of course, if it's too much for your hamstrings, you could always bend your knees. And then bend those knees, draw the belly button in and round and roll on up. Especially that I was inverted, it's really important just to take a moment to like feel my vibration and relax. It's really the time where all the blood is rushing back through my body and it's actually kind of has a tingling sensation. And of course, too, I know that you guys are just kind of watching me do this, but if you have any questions, you can always leave them in the chat and I'll try and answer them. So now that I did it at my shoulders and then at my elbows, I'm going to do the more advanced one where it's going to be at my hips. So hands are wider than your hips and bringing the hammock down into the crease. So you want to make sure that you can bring it below the hip bone and then press it into the legs. Right leg goes back, right hand down, left leg goes back, and then it's below my hip bone so I can relax as I bend my elbows. And I'm trying to work that forward fold position. So I'm just going to let my feet draw down. And then if I want to make it a little bit deeper and get into my hamstring stretch, I can actually grab my thighs to my calves and pull my torso in. And if I flex my feet, it can get even deeper. So now I'm actually getting the hamstring stretch, but I'm also getting the inversion, which again is calming the mind and reducing inflammation and reducing stress and helping me right now with the hanging. This also gives me lots of traction, which feels really good on my lower back, which is where I like to store all of my stress. The lower back. And my shirt's coming up, so maybe I'll just like tuck it in. I'm just hanging kind of like ragdoll. With every exhale, trying to let go of any stress or pain. Now coming into like kind of like a headstand. I'm going to bring my hands onto the mat and actually walk them forward and then straighten up my arms. Let my legs sway side to side. This feels really good on my spine too. You can also do this with straight legs if you want, or you can keep your toes drop down towards the mat, or them bent. It's a nice little like fascia release too on the hips, like a nice deep tissue massage. Okay, to exit, I'm going to shift my weight forward, let my feet come down to the mat, walk my feet to the center, hands to the center, hang over into a forward fold, take a deep inhale, and then exhale, slowly round and roll up. Whew. Again, taking time to let all the blood rush back down through the body, and feel the like tingling sensation, which I think feels really, really cool. And I think can be really nice. I see that there's a couple of messages. So, okay, cool. All right. So now I want to put it a little bit lower. So I have to get my um, my ladder. So I want to, right now that was at the hip height. So I want to go to the knee height. So coming here, I'm probably going to need to take one of these knots out so it's not so much. And then lowering it, probably like a foot, right? So from the hip to the knee, maybe that's like 2 feet. It'd be like 2 big poles. So let's test that out. Is that at the knee height? Yeah, there you go. So I'm going to tie then this knot up just so it's like not in my way or smacking me in the head. All right. So now I have the hammock at my knee height. So, right. So now it's like at the knees. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do the forward fold. But now that it's lower, I can actually go farther down. So I'm going to start just with my feet at hip distance and then hinge over. Hammock goes in front of the shoulders and I can just hang forward. And again, I really like this one for the lower back stretch and that it doesn't go into my hamstrings. It just lets me have this wonderful inversion and I can get a nice neck stretch too. But for me, my pain and my stress go into my lower back. So this is just a great way to work out those kinks. And it just feels really good to me. To exit, bringing the weight back to the feet, bending the knees and rounding and rolling on up. Again, taking a moment once I get to the top to feel my own vibration. So I want to get into a little bit more of my hamstring stretch now. So I'm going to do a more advanced one. So it's going to go on the outside of my shoulders. So I'm going to hinge over, but now it's on the outside of my shoulders. So I'll hook my elbows and then I can hinge over and get into my hamstrings. I like bending one knee at a time. That goes all the way down into my IT band. I'm just super tight from sitting all day looking for new spaces and stressing out about it. So this really helps me just being upside down, bending the knees, rounding, rolling on up. Whew. Definitely, my back doesn't feel better yet, but like calmer and a little bit happier. So I want to show how you can do seated forward bend with the hammock at this height. So from here, I'm going to come on down to my booty, seated just behind the center, and then I need to get into my wrist wrap. So one arm goes out wide, wraps around the front, reaches in and out to the side, out wide, into the front. So now I'm in wrist wrap. I'm going to bend my elbows, flex my feet, and bend my knees a little bit. Pull down on the hammock. This allows me to get a nice straight spine, and then hinge over, putting the belly on my thighs, and then I can slowly straighten up my legs as much as I feel comfortable. So this is a nice support with the hammock in the seated forward bend variation. In wrist wrap, I can bend my elbows even more, or I can straighten up my arms. The arms kind of help give a little stretch to my lower back versus the bend is more relaxed. You can have the feet flexed, or you can just have them relaxed. Either way tends to be a deeper stretch if you flex your feet. Pull down on the hammock to come on up. I'm also going to do this in a crisscross easy pose position to open up my hips, which is another place I love to store my stress. So inhale, lengthen through the spine, and exhale, hinge over. I love doing a sway side to side too. Usually I tend to find that swaying to one side is a bit more of a stretch than the other side, just kind of showing me where I have maybe some imbalances in my body. I saw that there's a message. I'll come up in just a second and I'll look at that. Please leave them in the chat if you do have questions, and I will try and get to them. Just going back, I'm just doing a little live of mainly working on calming the nervous system by doing some forward fold variations using the hammock, getting, yes, a hamstring stretch, but more importantly, working on the head, going below the heart, and calming the mind and reducing stress. Pulling down on the hammock to come up. So right now we have the hammock low at the knee height. I already showed it with the hammock at your hip height. But at the knee height, there's some other variations like doing the seated. And then I actually want to get in. I'm just going to check really quickly to see what the messages are, to see if I need to answer any of them. All messages are visible, but yes. Nice. Okay. Well, there you go. So I'll just keep continuing, and maybe if I get a really good comment, I'll answer any of that shit. Okay. So another thing that you can do is actually get in the hammock, so I don't have to be on the ground anymore. I'm going to get into it for the seated forward fold. So the seated forward fold, we're going to fold the hammock in half. So you want to take one edge and wave it around. And then you actually hold on to one of the edges, reach in. Wow. Grab onto the other edge and pull it through. So now we're folded in half. Maybe I won't take your comments right now. And then I'll open it up and sit into the hammock and bring the hammock to my mid hamstring. Bringing the hands through the center, and then hips are in the center. And I'm going to walk my feet forward so then it pulls me back. And I'm going to just slowly begin to hinge over and go into a nice forward fold right here, seated. You can also flex the feet to get a deeper stretch, pulling on the toes, shoulders back, nice long spine. If you want to make it deeper, you can act deeper, like the stretch deeper. You can bring it up the leg farther, so that allows you to hinge over more. Make sure that you relax your neck while you're here. I like to do a little sway side to side. This helps get into my hamstring and IT band. Shifting forward, bending the knees to come on back upright. And then I'm just going to lay back in it and arch out, open the legs, and bring those feet up. You got to bring them up nice and wide, and then wrap them around the front. I'm just going to have a little hang here. Again, inversions are known for calming the mind, reducing stress, reducing insomnia, reducing migraines. They help reduce inflammation too. You can also open the legs wide, do some ankle circles in both directions. Or you can bring your feet together for a bound angle. Opening the one leg out. This is a variation on our pigeon. This is great for hip flexor opening. Just letting gravity do the work. Also gets a nice little extension of the spine, which feels really good. Wrapping it around front and going with the other leg now, opening it out to the side, rotating it around back, and just letting gravity open up my hip flexor. Keeping my leg straight for this one, so it's kind of like a half pigeon variation. And you'll notice my head is touching, which is just fine with inversions. It's actually drawing the chin in towards my chest, but also giving some traction to the neck, which is great for my thyroid, especially because I have hypothyroidism. And then to exit, activate the core, leg rotates out to the side and around through the front. Reaching up and pulling myself up to seated. I want to bring the hammock underneath my knees now. I'm just going to rest with the elbows bent and hinging forward. It's kind of like a reset pose after the inversion. Inhale, long spine to come on back up to seated. That felt really good on my spine. To exit, I'm just going to walk all the way back, and then it just kind of actually pulls you up to a stand. I want to get back into that forward fold again. So I'm going to come into feet at hip distance and the cross position, and then put the hammock in front of my shoulders. And I'm just going to do some cat-cows here. So I'm going to round, drawing the navel in, scooping at the pelvis. Big deep inhale, and then exhale. And then inhale, shifting my weight into the hammock, extend through the spine, lengthen, and then exhale, round. Bringing some weight out of the hammock. Inhale, drop down into the hammock again, lengthen and open. And then exhale, round, and roll all the way up this time. Right ear to the right shoulder, pull down on that left shoulder, left ear to the left shoulder, pull down onto that right shoulder. And then back up to neutral. Inhale the shoulders around, back, and down. Okay, good. All right, I'm going to now do some reclining posture. So I'm going to be laying on the ground with my feet in it. So now instead of my head going below my heart, I'm going to have my feet up. So they're going to be above my heart. So it's a mild inversion. And it will still have the same benefits as the it will still have the same benefits of the inversion with my head below my heart, but this time it will be more mild, which I think is really, really lovely. Um, so, okay, here we go to do some mild ones with our feet in the hammock. So we're using the hammock at the knee height. So coming down onto the mat. And then bringing one foot in at a time into the hammock. I'm just going to start by having the legs straight. I'll be at a little diagonal here, having the legs straight, just letting them sway side to side. And then I'm going to bend them in. So I'm going to do some circles now. Keeping the breath through my nose and then circling the other way. Keeping the knees in and now just rocking side to side. And then I'm going to hold with my knees to the right, looking to the left for a mild twist. Long spine while I twist, breathing into the spine. And then tucking in towards the chest, bringing the knees over to the left and looking to the right. So I'm looking to the opposite side of where my knees are twisting towards. Knees back in. Good. Then I'm going to take out my right leg for a reclining split stretch, walking the hands up to my calf, pulling my foot towards me. I can also do this with the leg bent that's in the hammock, especially if my knee is hurting. Or if you have the flexibility, you can also grab up and flex that right leg. Or you can have that leg nice and straight that is in the hammock. You can even make it active by drawing your hips up. And then a figure four. So crossing the right over my left, bending both knees. I'm going to press that leg that's nearest me away from my body. This is great for hip opening. Also could be a stretch for the glutes. And it's just nice because the legs are above the heart. So it is calming the nervous system at the same time. Good. So let's bring that right leg back into the hammock. And again, rock side to side. Some circles. And then we're going to switch to the other side. So left leg is going to come out for that reclining split stretch, pulling the leg towards me, hugging the elbows in, shoulders down. Can bend the knee that's in the hammock, or I can keep it straight, whatever feels right. You could also flex that left foot, or you can keep it pointed, again, whatever feels right for your body. You can even make it active by drawing those hips up. Putting breath in through the nose and out the nose, trying to relax into wherever you feel tension. And then coming into figure four. So crossing the left over the right, bending both knees. I definitely notice my right side being tighter than my left, which isn't that big of a deal, but it could be causing some imbalances and causing me pain. So I should definitely work on stretching my right a little bit more. So they both are the same. Good. And then I'm going to hug both knees in, just as another reset pose, little rock side to side. And then grabbing the hammock to rock and roll and pull myself up to seated. Even though I wasn't in this big inversion, I was just simply laying down, but because my feet were lifted above my heart, it is an inversion. So it's really important when you exit to take time to relax before you come to standing. So just like when you go upside down, you want to exit slowly. The same thing is when you're laying down, you have your feet up, you want to exit slowly. So that was some of the poses that I like to do to help reduce my stress. And I don't think that there have been any comments that really need me to look at them. Yeah, Hmm. All right. Yeah, I guess I should have done that thing where you can hold all your inappropriate comments. Uh, all message. Maybe I'll hide all of these messages so you guys don't have to look at those. Ultimately, the messages were if you had any questions about actually aerial yoga poses that you wanted me to show you. And, you know, for me, I like to do inversions as a way to reduce my stress and anxiety. But I wanted to show some mild ones, so I hope it was useful for maybe somebody out there. All right. If anyone has like a real question, I would be willing to stay to answer that, but I don't think that's happening. Hmm. Well, I mean, at least you stayed. You gave me watch time. What the hell? Okay, so let's, yeah, I'm gonna stop.